The sense of community seems to have faded away. You step outside your front door only to find dismay. No one knows their neighbors anymore. There is no love thy neighbor as in the days before, because people are too scared to venture out and explore. So they keep to themselves, stay closed off from others, figuring that it's the best thing to do. Ignore your fellow brothers, because you no longer want to be bothered with people. You view them as ruthless and evil. And some of you have been hurt before, and you're not going to allow that to happen anymore. But we know in our hearts that's not the way God intended for it to be. But the world we now live in, most people think only about me, me, me. Yes, the sense of community seems to have faded away, to the point where public praying is trying to be taken away. The Bible clearly states to pray continuously. It makes you wonder if the lack of prayer has something to do with our decline emotionally. Yes, the sense of community seems to have faded away. People are more connected to their handheld devices than trying to find ways to resolve our world crisis, such as countries being at war with one another, family members not speaking to each other, children and the elderly are being abused, while people on a daily basis are getting taken advantage of and being misused. People on their jobs are overworked and underpaid, while the wealthy focus on getting more wealthier than rendering much needed world aid. Immigrant children are still being held in a cage with very little sympathy or community outrage. Black men and women are being harassed and killed in public out on our streets, while more and more people are becoming homeless with no food to eat. The gap between the wealthy and the poor is increasing, and love and peace between thy neighbor is decreasing. Climate change, it is for real. And our current sitting president, he views it as no big deal. He'll rather get on Twitter and pick an argument with a girl who is trying her best to bring awareness about the climate changes that is happening in this world. And our children, well, they are now dying from vaping. There is no escaping that America is not becoming great again. America is slowly fading. How can anyone find hope in a world filled with such despair? Are we living in a society where people no longer care? You can feel the evilness lurking in the air. And people wonder why depression is on the rise and why everyone around them wants drugs legalized, because people are trying to find ways to escape this earthly madness, even if they have to resort to using drugs to bring them a little piece of happiness. But the truth of the matter is, it only creates more sadness. Yes, the sense of community seems to have faded away, because people are not helping each other. They are choosing to look the other way or relying on someone else to come and save the day. Nowadays, the only time you do see unity is when there has been a terrible disaster within the community, such as a deadly mass shooting, some form of weather destruction, a global virus pandemic, or a terrorist attack. Then people within the community want to unite together to have each other's backs. But what about the parent who is homeless with children in tow, living out on the streets with nowhere to go? Where's the sense of community when these individuals are bundled up at night and the parents clinging to their little ones with all their might, trying to keep them warm and praying that they will make it through the night? We see it all the time, but nothing gets done. People get more riled up about their rights to keep their guns instead of handling humanity issues that is causing our world to become undone, like our public school system being at an all-time low, and the people living in these poverty-stricken communities are left to deal with it because they have nowhere else to go. And what about our prison system that leaves people to rot in jail, and our judicial system that posts unaffordable bails, because the prison system has become a big-time profitable business that has created a judicial system that shows very little compassion or human forgiveness. And let's not forget about some of these churches that no longer reach out to their communities. And outside don't feel the love from these churches, there is no unity. Church members no longer meet an outsider where they are at. Instead, they greet them with glaring eyes and bombard them with religious rules, leaving an outsider to wonder should they even bother going back. Yes, friends, the sense of community seems to have faded away. And I don't know if this country will last much longer if we continue to treat each other this way. It does not take a genius to figure out what to do. The Bible clearly states that it begins with me and you, by displaying love, compassion, and concern for one another, instead of hate, unfriendliness, and cruelness towards each other. And we also need to offer our time, resources, and services too, because the Bible teaches us that is what a good Samaritan would do. But most importantly, it is time to love thy neighbor as God instructed us to do, and put an end to thinking only about you, and you.